priorities, how to determine what to work on. There's a lot of things going on. You got a lot of tasks. Every one of them is important. The question is, which of them are you going to focus on right now? And I like to get specific so you can do something to actually do it. And it's good to always have things written out. You can find all of these PowerPoints in the training tutorial folder. So the way we first evaluate things, and these aren't necessarily in order, is any job that's gone a day without movement. So if we've had something hasn't been moving one day, we need to find out what's going on with that property and get some movement out there. And we should have, I mean, sometimes like after we've just framed up a house and it's got the roof, we can have the plumber, we can have the electrician, we can have the windows getting installed. Sometimes we can even have some of the exterior landscaping being done all at the same time. So we like to keep as many things going on one house as we can without having people slowed down because they're working on top of each other. Most of the time they can work. Most people can work right on top of the other people and be just fine. If it's a time where it's like the springtime, we need to start thinking about when are we going to have dry days, how many we need. Right now we're trying to put up some erosion control, and we need 2 dry weeks. That's hard to get during the springtime, January through June. That's tough to get. So when we get them, we got to make sure we have all the materials that we need on hand. We're currently experiencing some difficulty getting a hold of some material, so try to be ahead of the game and forecast not only what the schedule needs, but also what the weather needs. We need to prioritize making a house waterproof. The sooner we can get the roof on the house and the windows in, the sooner we can start working on the outside of the house and the inside. Until we get that roof up, we're forced to only do exterior jobs because we can't work inside. So as soon as we get that roof on, now we can do sheetrock and build the flower bed and pour the concrete all at the same time. So waterproofing new construction, that's another thing. We're taking all of these into consideration. Any task that's behind schedule probably had a mistake here on this first one. There wasn't movement for too long and it slipped through the cracks. So if we got something that's behind schedule, you know, might be good to drop what you're doing if what you're doing can wait. Now, according to this priority list, if it can wait 2 hours, start on this. That way we can get somebody over there working on the project that's behind schedule. We've got our dates set up so that you know when a project is behind schedule. If it's one of our first jobs with a new customer, such as we're starting a remodel, we need people over there working on it. We need it to start off strong and finish strong. The customer needs to see that we mean business when it comes to getting this work done. If we have a hard task, such as doing something that's never been done before in the state of Arkansas or whatever we're doing, we need to prioritize that task because it's going to take a lot longer than expected. We need to know that going into it, and we need to get started on so we get it done faster. The next thing we need to think about is the interest payments, and they're always bigger. They always cost a lot. So for the most part, the way we evaluate a day out here is a day costs $50, and that's about what it actually costs. It might even cost $100 depending on how detailed you want to get on it. So, and the $50 that covers your interest payment, like just your bank. It doesn't cover your taxes. That doesn't cover the other projects that we could have been working on. I tell customers no to. It doesn't. It doesn't include everything. But $50 is a good general number, and it's probably the minimum number. So for what one day costs. So if we have a property up here that says one day, what's that mean? It means that we lost $50 that day because it just sat there. If it's raining for 6 weeks, it can get really expensive. So we try to keep moving, And we're currently experiencing everything I'm talking about. Like we've been slowed down on erosion control for 6 weeks. We can't put the footers in until we have the erosion control established. And we can't put the erosion control in until we have 2 weeks of dry weather and have time to get the material on the site. So we're currently working on getting the material on the site. The way we evaluate how big the interest payment is, you can either ask me which one is the most expensive, and I'll tell you, or you can look at your projects and probably figure it out. But it's going to be the house that's the furthest along. We do about 7 draws on a $300,000 construction project, and the one that's further along means we've done more draws. Probably like we're on draw like 4 or 5. That's somewhere around 200,000. We got to pay interest on that, and that's the one that's the priority. And sometimes it's not always the case. I mean, sometimes you can have a complete house and it's not worth half of what the 6,800 square foot house is we're working on. So we need to be working on the big house. You can ask me, I'll tell you. Yeah. So this is how we're going to evaluate what we need to be working on, because it's critical that we're spending our very limited time. Because if we've got 8 hours in a day or 9 hours, if we go from 8 to 5, that's that's all that one person has, which is you. That's all you have is that 8 hours. So if 2 hours gets spent of it going on a trip to meet somebody at a house that doesn't show up because he didn't get his because you didn't text him 30 minutes before telling him you're on your way, and then you got to wait an hour, that clock is ticking, and it's critical that we stay on the task. Uh, so we're going to take an example here of another way on how to prioritize. So we had a project, it is 21 days behind. And the way I know that is I looked right here, and today is the 15th. So that is 7 plus, that's 22 days. It's 22 days behind. So here's what we did to make it work. So first off, we were trying to get one guy to do all this, and we intended to have him itemize price this so that we could figure out what's important, what's not important. We wasted 3 weeks on it, trying to save 800 bucks. We wasted 3 weeks, and 3 weeks is 50 times. We wasted 1,000 bucks trying to save 800 bucks. It doesn't take long for the numbers to get crazy. All I did was we finally got the numbers itemized. Try to get that done as quickly as possible, especially on the big task. I put in the stuff here that was within close to budget, and then I just copied this stuff, which if you notice, that's only about half the list. I went over here, copied and pasted, Command V, filled it in, printed 3 copies, and then now we're going to get somebody over there working on it. That's all we had to do. It would have helped if we would have this itemized. We were trying to figure out, where all the money goes. Next time we'll just think about it, and that's faster than waiting 3 weeks for somebody to respond back to us. So that's all you do to handle a big task is you break it into smaller chunks, and then you focus on the hardest chunk. You focus on these things in this order.